President Donald Trump said Wednesday that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally assured him that his country would stop buying Russian oil. According to Associated Press, the change, which has not been confirmed by the Indian government, would boost Trump's efforts to pressure Moscow to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. There will be no oil. He's not buying oil, Trump said. The change won't take immediately, he said, but within a short period of time. The Indian embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Trump has been frustrated by his inability to force an end to the war in Ukraine, which began with Russia's invasion almost 4 years ago. If India doesn't buy oil, it makes it much easier, Trump said to reporters. He's expressed dissatisfaction with Russian President Vladimir Putin, whom he increasingly describes as the primary obstacle to a resolution, and he's scheduled to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. India is the second biggest purchaser of Russian oil, after China, and Trump punished India with higher tariffs in August. Trump also talked about Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's scheduled visit to the White House on Friday. He said Ukraine would like to go offensive, and added, "I'll make a determination on that." Zelensky has been pushing for the U.S. to supply Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles, which could allow Ukraine to strike targets deep inside Russia, including Moscow, accurately and with large warheads. While Zelensky is widely expected to request Trump's go-ahead for the Tomahawks while at the White House, Washington has hesitated over such a move out of concern that it could escalate the war and deepen tensions between the United States and Russia. However, Trump on Sunday warned Russia that he may send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine if Moscow doesn't end its war there soon, possibly using that threat to increase the pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin to compromise.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In light of China's export curbs on rare earths, do you view India as a reliable partner going forward? And are you planning to meet Prime Minister Modi in Malaysia? Are you open to talks?
Yeah, sure. He's a friend of mine. We have a great relationship. He just said that 2 days ago, as you know. We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with him buying oil from Russia, because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war where they've lost 1.5 million people, by the way. Russia's lost 1.5 million people, soldiers mostly. This is a war that should have never started, but it's a war that Russia should have won in the first week, and they're going into the 4th year. And I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil. And he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop. Now I got to get China to do the same thing. You know, that is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week in the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years, and we got it done. This is 3 years, and I think we'll get it done. I think that President Putin, I think he wants to get it done. We'll see. There's a great animosity between him and Zelensky. You probably have noticed, right? And it's, I think it's hurting the process. Yeah, please.
Sir, you're going to have Volodymyr Zelensky here this week. What is your message at this stage of the war for him? And shy of Tomahawks,
to who is it?
For Zelensky.
Yeah.
And shy of Tomahawks for Ukraine, are you considering other options, and will you speak with Vladimir Putin?
No, we're looking at other options. We are. President Zelensky's coming in. I'm not a fan of the war. I'm not a fan of the way it started. It should have never happened. It wouldn't have started if I were president. No, we'll be talking about the war with him, and we'll be talking about, I mean, they want to go offensive. I'll make a determination on that, but they would like to go offensive, you know that, and we'll have to make a determination.
So, Sergey Gore has just gotten back from India. Yeah. What were the conversations like with Prime Minister Modi? And
I think they were great. He reported to me that he's a great man, you know. Modi is a great man. That he loves Trump. Now, I don't know if the word love, I don't want you to take that any different. I don't want to destroy his political career, okay? But you have to understand, I've watched India for years. It's an incredible country. And every single year you'd have a new leader. I mean, some would be in there for a few months. And this was year after year after year. And my friend has been there now for a long time. And he is. And he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. I don't know, maybe that's a breaking story. Can I say that? Would you say? There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You know, he can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process. But the process is going to be over with soon. And all we want from President Putin is stop this. Stop killing Ukrainians and stop killing Russians, because he's killing a lot of Russians. Again, it doesn't make him look good. It's a war that he should have won in 1 week, and he's now going into his 4th year. That does not make this big so-called war machine look good. But he could make a settlement. We're willing to settle. I thought we had a deal. The hatred of the two leaders is very, you know, it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle. There's no question about it. But I thought we had a deal 2 months ago. Who would think I created peace in the Middle East and can't get the two guys to settle? But I think we'll get them. But if India doesn't buy oil, it makes it much easier. And they're not going to buy. They assured me they will. Within a short period of time, they will not be buying oil from Russia. And they'll go back to Russia after the war's over. Jennifer.
NATO defense ministers met on Wednesday to try and drum up more military support for Ukraine amid a sharp drop in deliveries of weapons and ammunition to the war-ravaged country in recent months. According to Associated Press Secretary General Mark Rutte, addressing the session, said that NATO's continued support of Ukraine is deterring Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russian aggression in the future. The ministers will also debate a call from NATO's commander to lift restrictions on the use of their aircraft and other equipment, which would defend the alliance's eastern border with Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine more effectively. A series of mysterious drone incidents and airspace violations by Russian warplanes has fueled concerns that President Vladimir Putin might be testing NATO's defensive reflexes. Some leaders have accused him of waging a hybrid war in Europe. Moscow denies probing NATO's defenses.
NATO continues to help Ukraine defend itself. This includes the most recent NATO initiative that has already channeled $2 billion of US equipment paid for by allies into Ukraine. And there's more to come. Our support is putting pressure on Putin today. And our support to help Ukraine strengthen its own capabilities for the long term will help deter any Russian aggression in the future. And this clearly contributes to our own security too. I think you will meet later at the pressers. So, good morning. I really want to welcome Pete Hegseth here to NATO again, to the Defense Ministers meeting. This will be an important meeting because we had a successful summit in The Hague. And there is now much more cash on the table. There is firepower coming out of our defense industry, which is so important. And we are doing everything collectively to keep Ukraine strong. But I particularly want to thank President Trump and you personally for your leadership and the whole team for the fact that NATO is now much stronger, more lethal, but it is also fairer. Because we know that since President Eisenhower there was this constant irritant that, yes, NATO was there, the US was committed, but also had a clear expectation that EU allies and Canada would step up. And we took that historic decision in The Hague, thanks to your leadership, equalizing defense spending on this side of the pond and in Canada with what the US is spending. And I think that's extremely important. And I also want to thank President Trump and you personally again, and of course the whole American leadership team for the fact that when it comes to Ukraine, you decided to again make sure that they have what they need from the US, paid for by allies, and that program is now running. 2 billion committed so far, and today I expect many new announcements of countries who will participate. So, all in all, we are making great progress. Again, thank you so much, Pete, for everything you were doing. Mark.
It's great to see you. Great to see you. Absolutely.
For everything you were doing. Mark.
It's great to see you. Great to see you.
Absolutely. Great to be here. And Mark mentioned it. Firepower. That's what is coming. We expect and is coming from NATO. And it was a historic summit just a couple of months ago, brought about by leadership of President Trump to say we need our allies to step up. And they did, and they have in those commitments. Now those commitments will soon translate into capabilities, which is the most important aspect of it. And one part of that, of course, is Pearl, is the initiative where European countries buy U.S. weapons, transfer to NATO for the fight in Ukraine to bring peace to that conflict. And if there's anything we've learned under President Trump, is the active application of peace through strength. Yes. You get peace when you are strong, not when you use strong words or wag your finger. You get it when you have strong and real capabilities that adversaries respect. And I believe that's what NATO is doing. I believe that's what the Pearl Initiative is. So our expectation today is that more countries donate even more, that they purchase even more to provide for Ukraine to bring that conflict to a peaceful conclusion. I would also note a historic moment as well for a lot of things to happen, given what the president's been able to do in Gaza and throughout the Middle East. I think the world is seeing that we have a peace president who seeks that peace through standing by those that stand with the United States and stand for peace, which is what we saw there, and I hope we can see in Ukraine. So that's the focus of our efforts. We're going to be strong to bring that about, and thanks for having us.
Great. Thank you so much. See you later today at the pressers.